minus 10 minutes. Minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 minutes. T-minus for minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Well, hello there. Welcome to the RP Show, everybody. I just took a second to dip into the comments and what? We got a lot coming in. We got a lot to get to today. Episode number 1665 of Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show. You know how I know that? Because you're here. And thank you for tuning us in on the Game Plus television network. All across Canada and 33 states. And then our second hour picked up across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. So let's talk about them now. Our guest today is a good friend of mine, Angela Cotey. She'll be joining us in hour 2 from Chicago, that title in town. She's a Blackhawks podcaster. She hosts the Hockey Princess podcast. I've been on her show. I wanted to return the favor. She's going to do that in hour 2, talk some Blackhawks hockey and a lot of other things. But you know what? We got a lot to get to today. Let's jump right into the Quick Six Show topics because it is Wednesday. If you remember, it's just me for the whole first hour, a little bit of hour 2, and then Angela will be joining us, the Hockey Princess. So I want to get your comments in now. And the reason I was like, I looked at the comments, and there's a ton already. People were just, they can't wait to talk about these things. But we have breaking news. My big story in the first point was NFL related, but it wasn't this. We have breaking news today from the NFL. The Cleveland Browns are naming Todd Monken as their head coach. Yeah, I know. Who? Monken has been Baltimore's offensive coordinator for the past 3 seasons. He first interviewed on January the 10th, had a second interview January 20th. The Browns fired Kevin Stefanski on January 5th after 6 seasons. He was just introduced in Atlanta as their new head coach. Again, Todd Monken is the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns. God bless him. The narrative, and you're going to hear a lot today about the narrative, was that nobody wanted to coach the Browns, and maybe that's true. So congratulations to Todd Monken for having the stones to go into Cleveland and try to do something nobody's ever before been able to do, and that's lead them to a Super Bowl. Okay, that's the breaking news. Point 1 is this. And I know we're airing in Canada, and we got hockey to get to. But the big story in my world is this. Bill Belichick won 6 Lombardi trophies as a head coach with the Patriots, 2 more as an assistant with the Giants, and has more Super Bowl rings than anyone in NFL history. Yet somehow, he's not a first ballot Pro Football Hall of Famer. Belichick didn't get the required votes in his first year of eligibility. That news came down yesterday. News of the snub stunned players, coaches, fans, and anyone who has watched football. So the reaction has been crazy. What did I tell you over the last couple of days and for the last quite a while? I just like to kind of sit back and watch what everybody's saying, and I'll step into the fray at times when it's needed, when I feel it's needed. In this case, I'm just enjoying what I'm seeing. Patrick Mahomes called it insane. LeBron James said it's impossible, egregious, and quite frankly, disrespectful. Everybody has an opinion, and I'm not entirely sure who's right, but I want to hear yours. You're going to get mine. Just getting the poll out of the way, which I'll get to in a second, but all kinds of people weighing in with their opinions on this. Well, let's start with Rich in Edmonton. He writes in and says, love it or hate it, Spygate kept him from the first ballot, plain and simple. I think there's way more to it than that. And because this first segment goes by so fast, I'm not going to read all the comments here. I will when we come back in the next break. And trust me, we'll get to the hockey and all the other things that are going on. But as I was driving home from the Panthers game last night, I was listening to Fox Sports Radio, and they had a guy on who's on the voting committee. Jason Cole is his name, and really enjoying the debate. He's got a vote, and he goes, I voted. He goes, I can't really speak for the other. He goes, I voted for him to go in. I can't speak for the other voters. But what I was hearing from those guys was that they don't really like Belichick personally. And then there's the Spygate, as you say, and his role in Deflategate and all these things. But frankly, Rich in Edmonton, I know you're a little envious of me that I have the choice of what I thought was 5. It's now 6 all sports radio stations to listen to in the South Florida market. That's how seriously they take sports. But my favorite is WQAM. And they had Jimmy Johnson on this morning. He's on every week. Yeah, it's amazing. Jimmy Johnson's on every week. He was spitting fire. And by the way, he just lives down in the Keys, 60 miles away. And he goes, where do I start? Especially look at Jimmy Johnson's Twitter, let alone what he said on the radio today. The thing that he put on Twitter was, he goes, I am a Hall of Fame head coach, and Belichick's better than me. How is he not in? And then he went on the radio this morning with Joe Rose, ironically. I mean, I almost went in the ditch listening to these guys talk. I just love it. And Jimmy says, listen, this is how it works. And by the way, I voted on these awards, and those that know the Canadian viewers, my history, know my sordid history with voting for these things and why I don't have a vote anymore. But anyways, Jimmy goes, this is how they think. And he was right. He goes, the voters sitting back going, he's going to get in anyways, but I don't really like him, so I'm not going to vote for him. And enough people had that line of thinking and voted that way that Belichick's not getting in. And if I have the math right, he was missing 10 votes to get in his first year. So here's the thing, Rich. I don't think there's any doubt. Yes, the cheating scandals from his coaching days are that. But I don't think it's just that. We all saw the news conferences, and let me make this very clear. Just because of the snippets that we see of the news conferences and it makes him look like Godzilla doesn't mean he is Godzilla. Kind of seems that way, but I thought that about Mike Kelly all those years coaching the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and then I meet him and we're tight, thick as thieves, as my mom would say. So don't go by that. But most people don't like him, and clearly Tom Brady doesn't like him. It's similar to, Aikman and Jerry Jones. They don't get along if you're paying attention, which, by the way, there's way more to the Bill Polian is getting put through the ringer on this. So we're all learning a lot of things here that I didn't even know. I don't know if Bill Polian is like the quarterback of the voting committee or whatever, but everybody's saying that Polian hates Bill Belichick. From strictly competitive their days, Polian with the Bills and the Colts, and Belichick with the Patriots. It's just a professional thing, but they still hate each other. And they're saying that Bill Polian, the Hall of Fame general manager, was orchestrating a blackballing effort of the voting for Belichick. I don't know whether it's true or not, but dagnabbit, it's fun to listen to. So, yeah, my point is I don't judge from what I see on TV. I've been around it long enough to know that's you're a fool if you do. But maybe Belichick needed a little humbling too, because I don't think he treated the media real well. So it's just he's getting a little bit of a comeuppance here. He's clearly embarrassed. We're just scratching the surface on this, so hang on. Yes, you're right, Jeff, the Stamps fan. Gets laugh over Cornish. You're right. We're just getting that was my history, and That's not why I lost my vote, but maybe it was. I don't really care. We'll be right back. This is the warm-up, and we're just getting good. Get comfortable here on Game Plus TV.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
I like Wednesdays. It's just you and me. We can handle it. We're fine. The text line is humming 902-518-3033. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. Are you ready for a new ride? Head to Western Dodge where the deals are real and the service is legendary. I want to get to the NHL stuff in a second. It's the big story. I don't care where you're living. Bill Belichick being snubbed from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Where do we start? John Ohm is watching in Winnipeg. He says, who votes on this? What the F? Should be in the first vote. Maybe the voters are jealous and insecure. Hang on. Jeff the Stamps fan says, people vote with their hearts. Belichick isn't likable, may have cheated in games, and some egos are jealous of his girlfriend. Whatever it is, it's wrong, okay? And I do want to move on because every other talk show was talking about it, and I get that. This just underscores what I put in my commentary today. These halls of fame just aren't that important anymore like they were. And for whatever reason, it's been ruined for a variety of reasons. Petty grudges like this or that. Like Moose said it best way back in the day, which, by the way, I'll do a daily Moose report for everybody. I did talk to him yesterday, but Moose said, because the Hall of Fame debate was my funnest debate in life, and they took it away from me. Does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? We talk about this for hours, right? And Moose used to say, if you have to ask, then no. Well, Bill Belichick, this is what this Jason Cole said last night. He's on the voting committee. He goes, we have never had a more qualified candidate for the Hall of Fame than Bill Belichick in the history of the Hall of Fame, and he's not getting in. So Troy Aikman, who's in the Hall of Fame, my guy, he tweeted, this is a sad day for the Hall of Fame. So everybody looks bad. The Hall of Fame looks bad. It's making Belichick look bad, which my guy, Mike Florio, was saying this morning on his show that he thinks Belichick orchestrated all of this to get it out that he got snubbed. And I don't believe that. I love Florio, but I don't believe that that's what went down. Regarding the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns, by the way, for those that joined us late, Todd Monken is his name. No, I never heard of him, but that's a me problem, not a him problem. Tony from Cochrane writes in, he's a Browns fan. He says, and I said, good for him for taking the job because the rumor was nobody wanted it. Tony says, Monken is there for the paycheck. Head coaches make 2 to 3 times more than coordinators. God bless him is right, Rod. It was the very first thing I thought was, God bless him, God help him. It reminds me completely different scenario, but like the Humboldt Broncos situation after the bus crash in 2018, a lot of guys didn't want that job. But I give credit to the 3 guys that went in there. Head coach Nathan Oystrick, assistant coaches Scott Barney and Troy Smith, and Scott ended up, the barn dog, taking it all over. God bless him for doing it. Nobody else wanted it. Same thing here with Todd Monken and the Browns, so I wish him well. Tim is watching in Kansas. How you doing, Tim? Haven't seen you for a while. He says, I'm okay with Belichick getting passed over. Cheating has consequences. Should we let McGuire, Bonds, Clemens in the Hall? How about we give Ben Johnson his medal back? Is that just what it is? Because I don't think that's what it is. I don't know. But you know what? It's reminded me to move on more than anything because we don't know what the answer. I think it's the grudge thing. But you just brought up a really good point. And it's not just here. So he cheated to have the second most all-time wins behind Shula and 6 Super Bowls as a head coach. Was caught cheating. Maybe that is bigger than the fact that he was a jerk to the media and the voters. I don't really know, but something's keeping him out. Maybe the cheating is a bigger deal. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, any publicity is good publicity. I used to always agree with that, and then I didn't agree with that, and now I'm not sure where I stand on that. But you're probably right. Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, we're moving on to Cincinnati. Thank you for tugging me back. We'll come back to all of this. Breaking news from the National Hockey League. The Montreal Canadiens, this is point 2, fired goaltending coach Eric Raymond today. They made the move 53 games into the NHL season despite sitting in a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. Goalies Jakub Dobish, Samuel Montembeault, and Jacob Fowler have combined for a save percentage of .884 that ranks 28th among the league's 32 teams. Marco Marciano was promoted from the same job, goaltending coach, with the American Hockey League's Laval Rocket to fill the role on an interim basis for the remainder of the season. Raymond had served in the job since 2021. So, first thing I thought was they won last night. Number 1, they beat Vegas. I went 5 of 10 of picks. Number 2, Martin St. Louis wouldn't fire anybody easily. So I'm not going to criticize Martin St. Louis and the Canadians for making this move. Clearly they feel that it's the right move. But it smacks a little of the Leafs firing Mark Savard as their power play coach, special teams coach. And then they went on a little bump. And now they suck again. Oh no, we suck again. Is it this goalie coach's fault in Montreal, or is it just going to wake the goalies up for a while? Eric Raymond, because that's usually how it goes. I don't know, but that's the news from the NHL this morning. And as far as on the ice last night, Macklin Celebrini had a goal and 3 assists. Will Smith had a goal and 2 assists. And the visiting San Jose Sharks beat the Vancouver Canucks 5-2 in Tuesday's NHL play. Before we get off the air today, I'll do my top 5, bottom 5 of the week for the National Hockey League. Where's Jeremy, the Wings fan? Saw them lose last night, Jeremy. I don't see you beating down my door to put the Wings in the top 5 this week. Mark Scheifele scored his 26th of the season. Reigning MVP Connor Hellebuck stopped 26 of the 29 shots he faced, and Winnipeg ended its 2-game skid by beating New Jersey 4-3. I had a guy last week. He said, "You were the voice of Canada's World Junior team, right?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Who were the big guns on that team?" And I was thinking, I'm like, Jaden Schwartz, Brett Connolly, Dougie Hamilton. Totally forgot Scheifele. How do I forget Scheifele? But we didn't win. We won bronze. But Alexander Barkov was on Team Finland. Mika Zibanejad was on Team Sweden. Nikita Kucherov was on Team Russia. Oh, that was a hell of a tournament. Jake Evans, the game I was talking about earlier, but the Habs winning last night, scored at 3:58 of overtime, leading Montreal to a 4-3 victory over Vegas. And Rasmus Dahlin had the first hat trick of his NHL career to go along with 2 helpers, in Buffalo beat Tirana 7-4. I wrote this down. Did you know that there have been 28 hat tricks since January 1st in the NHL? You want to talk about a Happy New Year? That's one a day in the National Hockey League. 20. It's the year of the hat trick. It's better than the year of the puck over the glass penalty, Anyways, the Leafs came home last week off a successful road trip, but finished their disastrous 5-game homestand with a solitary point at 4-1 and have dropped 7 of 8 overall. And we'll wind up our tour with this because I want to get more to what the viewers have to say. Patrick Kane of the Detroit Red Wings has tied Dallas's Mike Modano as the highest scoring U.S.-born players in NHL history. Kane matched Modano on Tuesday by recording his 1,374th point on an assist on Alex DeBrincat's goal late in Detroit's 3-1 loss to the LA Kings. Can we have a moment of silence for Modano's record going down? Thank you. He is my favorite hockey player ever, Mike Modano. And he'll always be the greatest to me. Oh, by the way, Angela Cotey coming up in hour 2 from the Hockey Princess podcast, a Blackhawks podcaster. I got so much to get to with her. One of which will be seeing Patrick Kane accomplish these great feats in a Detroit uniform. But yeah, it's just funny, I don't get the people that won't cheer for somebody because of where they're from or the color of their skin or their sexual orientation, whatever the hell it is. I didn't care that Modano was American. Who cares? He's great. It sucks that his record fell, but it happens. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, second greatest PA Raider, in my opinion. Okay, PA, where you at? Behind who? Dan Hodgson, Dean McCammond, Shane Toporowski. From Paddockwood to Hollywood, Shane Toporowski. I think Modano's the greatest Raider ever. Sorry. Hey, stop for a sec. I said get comfortable, man, because we're going to be off-roading here. Let me handle it. Carlos in Indiana writes in and says, the overreaction is good for views and clicks. I couldn't agree more. But as a guy that's voted on these awards and Hall of Fame inductions and stuff, it's petty grudges. I don't think it's about the cheating. That's my opinion. But we're hearing everybody's opinion, and I'm enjoying them all. And I'm sure that if I worked with Bill Belichick, I probably wouldn't like him because I've worked with guys like that from what I can see. And again, very clearly, he and Tom Brady don't get along. And Tom seems like the kind of guy that can get along with anybody. So I think it's a grudge thing. Scott in Vancouver writes in and he says, is this about Deflategate? Spygate's being brought up more than that and than Deflategate, but the fact that there are two gates and we got to compare them might give you an indication why this is a thing, but I still think it goes back to Belichick being a jerk. And again, I don't know. These Hall of Fames have ruined themselves, and I don't really know how it's happened. It just used to be, should he get in or should she get in? Yeah, put him in. They don't care. The bigger thing is, and don't get scruffy going on baseball and the garbage can Astros scandal from 2017. Astros won, and they didn't have the World Series taken away, despite the cheating scandal that was involved there. We've all known this, those of us that have worked in sports our whole lives, where they say it ain't cheating unless you get caught. And even if you do, they don't take the trophies away. And maybe you got to wait to get into the Hall of Fame. I mean, and by the way, that's the other thing. And when I think people do like this when I'm on my own here, because you get my stories. Listen, I deal with a lot of Hall of Fame worthy athletes, coaches, broadcasters, you name it. There's a lot that don't get in these days. You know some of them by name. And it's those coffee discussions around the kitchen island where, and I'm no different. I mean, I got as good and far better than resume than most people that are in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame media wing, but I'm not in because somebody didn't like me. I don't care. I got the rings. I got the best-selling books. I got the memories. I don't want to name names, but it doesn't bother me because you don't hear me bringing up about myself. But with the other guys, it really bothers them. They just want to, I guess, for whatever reason, get recognized. But I'm like, you got the Stanley Cups. You've got the Grey Cups. I was thinking about this morning walking into the gym. Vancouver Eric writes in. He says, I'm here for the RP stories. Dan Marino's in the Hall of Fame. Doesn't have a Super Bowl. It keeps him up at night. Andrew Green is a really close friend of mine, former Seahawks and Dolphins offensive lineman. He is in the Rough Riders Plaza of Honor. He got every ring possible for Hall of Fames. He doesn't have a championship. He can't sleep at night. So I sit these guys down and say, hey, you're a Hall of Famer. We all know it. Why do you care so much? Oh, here's another one. Arlen Bruce. God must have, were your ears burning, AB? He says, good morning, RP. The world we live in, you really can't get too emotional about the decisions the higher-ups make these days. Uncle Bill's not a Hall of Famer? He says, I don't have a chance now. Hang on. We're just getting warmed up. It took a half an hour, but we're humming now. We'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, we're back. I hope you're having as much fun as I am. I'm sure it's infectious. I'm sure you are. Angela Cotey joining us in hour two, a Blackhawks podcaster. The bosses said, can you get some women on the air? I said, only if they know what they're talking about, because that's the rule to get on the air. You got to be good. She's good. I've been on her show. Wanted to return the favor. The hockey princess out of Chicago, Angela Cotey, coming up in hour two. The Junior Hockey Report, we do it every day for the Mad Greek. The Prince Albert Raiders won their 8th straight hockey game last night at the Temple Gardens Center. A 4-3 victory over the Moose Jaw Warriors. Landon McFadden scored 2 and assisted on the other Moose Jaw goal. The Warriors have 2 games this weekend. Friday at home to Edmonton, and they'll visit the Pats in Regina Saturday night. Did you go to the Mad Greek before or after the game like I'd asked? Whether it's pizza, their unbelievable authentic Greek ribs, or whatever, make it the Mad Greek Eatery. Open until 11 p.m. Order online, pick up, or dine in at themadgreekeatery.com. There was a little discussion earlier about who was the greatest Prince Albert Raider ever, because I said that my favorite hockey player ever is Mike Modano. And Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says he was the second best Raider ever behind Dry. Well, we all know who Dry is. Oh, this guy. You want to see something? Just in the break, I noticed this. This is like a real synchronicity thing. What was this behind me, hiding back? Oh. I just opened the box. A Tim Hortons Leon Draisaitl mini stick with the sticker upside down inside. How about that? It's funny because Jersey Jim came and stayed with me for the NHL Winter Classic last month. And he was standing in the bedroom. He's like, I said, what are you looking at, Jim? Oh, the memorabilia. Oh, I just call it stuff. I got more stories on that. But you're the show, the viewers. I said, you're co-hosting here today. So what have we been talking about for those that just showed up? Bill Belichick being snubbed by the Pro Football Hall of Fame. In retrospect, maybe he's just getting his comeuppance. But again, to quote Mike Florio this morning, this is a 100% revolt. There ain't nobody that thinks Bill Belichick shouldn't be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So why isn't he? And I get a kick out of them asking the voters to step up and identify themselves. Who didn't vote for Bill Belichick? Like, they're actually going to do that. What Jeff the Stamps fan was referring to earlier in my misspent youth. John Cornish was up for most outstanding Canadian in the Canadian Football League. What year was that, Jeff, the Stamps fan? I want to say 09. I didn't vote for him. Nope. I voted for Chris Getzlaff, and I had my reasons. And the funny thing is, the results came out 99-1. And everybody knew who the one was. This guy. Let me get back on point for a sec. 902-518-3033. Holy smokes. 2 years ago, the Seattle Seahawks and New England Patriots made the decision to move from Super Bowl winning coaches Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick. Those decisions have been validated now that Mike McDonald and Mike Vrabel have engineered quick turnarounds to get those two franchises back to the Super Bowl, with McDonald doing it in his second season in Seattle and Vrabel in his first in New England. It marks just the fourth Super Bowl ever featuring two head coaches in their first or second year, with the last time happening in 2008 when Pittsburgh's Mike Tomlin bested Arizona's Ken Whisenhunt in a matchup of second-year coaches. That one was in Tampa Bay. That was a good one. By the way, Super Bowl 60, I'm already lining up next week's coverage, just so you know. Oh, it's just going to be fantastic. I was mentioning yesterday in the program, and a lot of you were here, I said I'm not going to San Francisco. If it's up to me, I'm probably never leaving Florida ever, especially not in the summer. But Jeff Reinbold, I will be leaving maybe in the summer, but the other 9 months, no. Jeff Reinbold, the new defensive backs coach of the Ottawa Redblacks, is going, and he will be on next Tuesday from Super Bowl. I said, what are you doing there, coach? And he said he's working with Irish Television. Sports Network out of Ireland's hired Jeff Reinbold to cover the Super Bowl. And then John Ryan, Super Bowl winning punter with the Seahawks, is going to be there too. He's promised to come on. So we'll get the vibe. We don't need to be there. Not this year anyways. Okay. I like this one from Jeremy. I asked where you were, and on cue, he showed up. Talking about the Belichick thing, and I said there's this story out there. I'm just here for the stories. Bill Polian, the Hall of Fame GM of the Bills and the Colts, there's this narrative or conspiracy theory that Bill Polian is orchestrating keeping Belichick out of the Hall of Fame. I don't even know what his deal is. I should know, but I don't. I don't know if he's the chairman of the voting committee like Lanny McDonald was with the Hockey Hall of Fame. I'm guessing that's it. But anyways, Jeremy writes in, Red Wings fan. He says, pretty sure some old fart with the Pro Football Hall of Fame was with the Colts back then when the Pats spanked them, and he's just being a petty old fart. See, that, by the way, is the other thing, and this is where I just don't see things the way everybody else does. But as my Chancellor Rand says, that's why you have a show. It's entertaining. You don't think the way everybody else does. Because I see the pettiness in sports all the time. I've been a victim of it. I've been on the other end of it and had grudges that I had to get over. It's sad. And the thing is, as I'm sitting here just, again, running this morning, listening to Florio talk about this with, who do you have on today? Michael Hawley, I think, legendary Boston reporter. I didn't even know Belichick and Polian hated each other. I didn't know, because we all see what we see on television, and we think they're all in it together, but they hate each other. That's how they got to these top positions. You know, like, it's funny because later on this afternoon, I'm going to be doing my Cats and Bolts podcast. And when I started that show here in Florida, Florida's favorite hockey show, the Lightning and Panthers got along. Now they outright freaking hate each other. Like, hate each other. And it's made it kind of uncomfortable for me, because the fans on both teams are going, pick one. No. If I don't want to, I'm not going to. But anyways, everybody outside Florida thinks, oh, they're expansion cousins. They're this. No, they're not. They hate each other. Okay? So what we all think we see is very rarely what's actually going on, is my point. So Polian versus Belichick. It's funny that this gets unearthed now. And again, for those that weren't watching earlier, Jimmy Johnson was on the radio here in Miami this morning. He's on what's today, Wednesday? Every Wednesday. Jimmy Johnson's on with Joe Rose. It doesn't get better than that as far as radio goes. And Jimmy Johnson goes, here's how they think. And he's right. Enough voters sat back privately and said, listen, he's going to get in anyways, but I don't really like him, so I'm going to vote no. And there were too many of those guys that he ended up not getting in. This happened. Tony and Cochran. Tony, are you at least enjoying what's going on in Cleveland? Tony writes in and he says, breaking news. After the Todd Monken hire, Browns named Todd Monken their new head coach today. Defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz wants out. What a dumpster fire. Are you at least you're probably not enjoying it. I am. On the Modano thing being surpassed or tied last night by Patrick Kane as the all-time U.S. leading scorer in NHL history. Where did it go here? Scott in Vancouver writes in and he says, just another reason to hate Mike Babcock, screwing over Modano and preventing him from getting 1,500 games. I can't argue with you there. Arlen Bruce writing in, I definitely don't think that Belichick and myself would trade in our championship rings for the Hall of Fame. Would you trade in your multiple championships for the Hall? No, AB. And I hope you actually believe that and you're not just saying that. Because that's what I've had to say to the guys. I don't know any gals that are in that position. Not yet. Maybe one day I will. But it's all guys that have been snubbed from these halls of fame. And it really bothers them. And I think it appeases them for a while when I say sit back and shine your medals and polish your rings. Because a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame don't have that. Marcel Dion, Dan Marino, Kevin Glenn. It only works for a couple of hours and then they're pissed right off again. Hang on. We'll be right back, everybody, here on the Game Plus Television Network.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, A big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back. Again, I'm just having so dang much fun here. I got this whole page of notes, and I haven't got to really any of them, thanks to what's gone on today. Again, Todd Monken is the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns. I know I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. Brent in Saskatoon writes in, he says, I just watched Andy McNamara react to the new Browns head coach. He's not thrilled. Right? Andy was just on the show last week, which reminds me, don't Glenn Erickson and Medicine Hat, don't make me laugh, okay now? Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in and he says, where the hell is it? He says, yes, Rod. There are so many guests that you've had on this show that I didn't like. Then I listened to them on your show and I changed my mind about them. Well, we've done 1,665 shows now. And Wayne, I'm curious as to know who that might be. Because I know you've been watching this show since, we're going into year 9, which is a miracle. But this show started as a voice for the exiled. How about including the host? We wiggled our way from starting as a Facebook show into mainstream television, national TV, and growing, which makes no sense. But the reason, like who you, I'm curious. Who specifically are you talking about? Like Greg Zahn, we gave him a voice, canceled. He's talked about that on the show. Matt Barnaby, same thing. Barney, I just saw somebody tweeting last night. Oh, man, Matt Barnaby is unbelievable after watching him on the Ice Guardian. Well, yeah, I told you that. Been friends with Barney for years. He's a great guy. But we live in a time where getting canceled's in vogue, and it sucks. We're bringing them back. Anyway, and by the way, it's not like they get on this show not only because they're my friends, but they're good. And Babcock's another. He's been on the show multiple times. Every time he comes on, my phone blows up with hockey players who hate him. And they're like, what are you doing? Having him on. I'm like, listen, he's been great to me. He's been nothing but great to me from the first time I met him in 1991 in Moose Jaw. I know that sucks for you, but there's a lot of people I don't like that have screwed me over that are friends of my friends. I don't hold it against people. Piss off. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in. He says, when did sports writers become the moral compass? That's what I'm saying. Sports writers. Yeah. Yeah. They're going to look down their nose at people. Okay. Right. Let's do a sports update. Yeah, right. Producer Corey saw the hilarity in that as well. Sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone in Moose Jaw. Moguls skier Mikhail Kingsbury and ski cross racer Mariel Thompson have been named Canada's flag bearers for the opening ceremonies of the Milan Cortina Winter Olympics. That news came down Wednesday morning, and it spawned our poll question today because, frankly, the first poll question that popped into my mind was, should Bill Belichick get into the Hall of Fame first ballot? Yeah, it's 100% yes. Why waste my time on that for EMJ marketing? The Olympics thing, I'm going to be talking about the Olympics hockey this afternoon on the Cats and Bolts podcast here in Florida. And I'm getting very excited for the Olympics. It's a yes for me. 53% only of respondents are saying yes, but it'll grow. 3 draws are scheduled today at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts in Mississauga, Ontario. Caitlin Laws and her Manitoba foursome are the first team to qualify for the playoff round at the Canadian Women's Curling Championship. Laws leads Pool A at 6-0, followed by Canada's Carrie Anderson at 5-1. Manitoba's Beth Peterson tops Pool B at 5-0. If I didn't like everybody I was told not to like them because the BBB, I wouldn't like anybody. Can't go by that. Anyways, the sports update is brought to you by the Ultimate Fan Zone. Are you looking for the hottest fan gear? Swing by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca where real fans get their gear. Oh, my word. Because Glenn Erickson in Medicine Hat was a sports writer, he gets it. They're the moral compass. Let's talk about Scotties and tankards that we've covered over the years and the stuff we've seen. Kirk in Toronto writes in and says on the text line, the Leafs are on an 0-5-1 heater. Yep, I'm sick of the Leafs. Wilfin Steinbach writes in, Manitoba. He says, hi, Rod. NFL Hall of Fame voters should give reasons for their votes or no votes. He'll get in someday. Well, that's the calls this morning across America is identify yourself. That was what was, frankly, to me, so funny about me being outed as the only one who didn't vote for John Cornish as top Canadian, and because he was 99-1. Everybody knew. In this case, 10 guys, 10 of the 50, if I have that right, didn't vote for him. I think that's how it worked. They're not going to explain it. Oh, my God. They'll probably lose their vote. Rob in, where is he? The Queen City writes in, he says, Belichick not in the Hall of Fame, but Shedeurs in the Pro Bowl? What's happening? Hey, guy, go for a walk because you'll never get the answer to that. Listen, I've given up. Think of something else. Vintage Sasko writes in. He says, hey, Reverend Rodney, small world problems and trying not to beat a dead horse, but Bill Belichick and Richard Kent Austin, not in their halls of fame, make me want to puke. See, that's the thing. They ruined it for everybody, which I don't know. They ruined it. They are ruining it. Here's the big thing here in America. Because I'm a broadcaster career, I've always been pretty fascinated with ESPN, and I've spent a lot of time in the States in my life. So anytime I would come down, I would be glued to the television to watch ESPN back in the day. But now there's this growing sentiment. Everybody's ticked off for the way ESPN's being run. Like Stephen A. Smith saying the Pittsburgh Steelers should have interviewed Ryan Smith to be their head coach, even though he's never coached a day in his life, just because he has good takes on ESPN. Or they're really upset that Jason Kelsey's coming into Tampa Bay this weekend to be a hockey analyst for ESPN. People are going, just make it stop. He's a football player. Why is Jason Kelsey being brought in by ESPN to be on the set of the outdoor game this Sunday in Tampa? I don't know. But I think we've just hit on why this show is gaining popularity. We stay in our lane. Wayne, you didn't answer my question. I want to know who's the person that you didn't like, but they came on this show and all of a sudden you like him. I want to know. Wayne writes in at 902-518-33. He says, it's not surprising. That same Wayne wrote back. He says, it's not surprising that the Hall of Fame didn't put Belichick in the first ballot. He's not a likable person. Plus his scandals. But I agree with Rod on why he's not in. Wait. That's not what I asked. Who is it that we flipped you on? Vancouver Eric writes in. He says, I thought cancel culture was finished. Grudges ain't. That's human nature. That's never going to change. And I think what you're all getting and why everybody's so shocked, this didn't shock me at all. Frankly, it didn't. But the public is getting a real front row seat to what goes on in the world of pro sports, and it's gross. That's all. It's the biggest sandbox in the world. You'd like to think that people get over things, but this was. By the way, there are those that saying Belichick's not blameless. Let's not forget. A very close friend of mine was on Belichick's staff in North Carolina this year. I know everything that went on there. Okay, Belichick's pretty good at holding grudges too. Okay, he's not absolved from this. Oh, what? Of what do you speak, Rod? Oh, him not allowing any New England Patriots scouts into the facility in Chapel Hill out of a grudge. So, yeah, this ain't going away anytime soon. The question, it's funny because everybody's saying, including me, oh, he will get in. Really? How do we know that? Rich in Edmonton writes in and says, Dan Orlovsky really bothers me for some reason on ESPN. The guy was a piss-poor quarterback, but comes on and pontificates like he was Joe Montana. Well, that's because he was entertaining, but they've got to him. He's kind of changed, Orlovsky. I've become less of a fan, but it is what it is. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Jeremy, you clearly joined us late because I called you out earlier about your Red Wings, but Jeremy writes in and he says, I saw Jimmy Johnson was ticked on Twitter and ranting about it. Yeah, we covered all that. It was the very first thing. Jimmy Johnson said, this is how they think, and he's right, because I was in those shoes as a voter. They're thinking, he's going to get in, but I don't like him, so I'm going to vote no. He'll get in anyways. But there was enough of those guys that think that way that barred him from getting in. And Belichick's getting a comeuppance, and I'm sure there's a lot of... Listen, we all get humbled at some point. Maybe this is Bill's. Bill from the Queen City says, Jason Kelsey is going to the hockey show for the attention grab of football fans. I guess I don't understand how they think. I would rather have a hockey guy on the panel talking about hockey than a football guy to bring in football fans. But again, what the hell do I know? Oh, this is going to be great. And you're going to love Angela Cotey as well, the Blackhawks podcaster, coming up next hour. Take a potty break. Fill up your coffee. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers, Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
It's a big day, because it's a Wednesday. As they say, why is it the biggest game? Because it's the next one. It's the next hour of the RP Show, welcoming our viewers across Nevada on the Silver State Fulton Entertainment Network, and of course across Canada, sticking with us into Hour 2 on Game Plus TV, and 33 states across America. We got breaking news. Let's jump right into it. Other than I'll tell you that the guest spot today will be held by our good friend Angela Cotey, joining us from Chicago. She is a Blackhawks podcaster. She hosts the Hockey Princess podcast with Krusty. Yes, she's coming up in the next segment, so you're not going to want to miss that. We'll be talking NHL with her. There's a lot going on there. But it's football is where we start with the Quick Six show topics. Breaking news. On this Wednesday, by the time it airs in Nevada, it'll be old news. The Cleveland Browns are naming Todd Monken as their new head coach. Monken has been Baltimore's offensive coordinator for the past 3 seasons. He first interviewed January 10th, had a second interview January 20th. The Browns fired Kevin Stefanski on January 5th after 6 seasons, and Stefanski, who was hired by Atlanta on Saturday, led the Browns to the playoffs in 2020 and 2023. That wasn't enough to keep his job. Monken previously served as the Browns offensive coordinator back in 2019. He's also worked with the University of Georgia, Jacksonville, and Tampa Bay. The update to that story is Jim Schwartz has walked, which he's the defensive coordinator, and that shouldn't really surprise anybody. I'm sorry. Tony, the Browns fan that watches, I'm sure there are more Browns fans than Tony, but he's the one that we have our back and forth with. He said, what a dumpster fire. And I said, are you at least being entertained by that? But you're not. It's just like me not being entertained by what goes on in Dallas with the Cowboys. It's not funny. It's not entertaining. It's sad. And that's what's going on in Cleveland. And we don't want to be a downer here. So let's move on to, I guess, 1B of the Quick Six show topics. 6-time Super Bowl champion head coach Bill Belichick didn't get voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. ESPN first reported Tuesday that Belichick didn't receive the necessary 40 votes from the 50-person panel of media members and other Hall of Famers. The Hall of Fame declined to comment before its class of 2026 is announced on February the 5th. So as I said an hour ago, I'll say it again, get comfortable. Because I could talk about this forever. I've voted for the awards. I've had votes on Hall of Fame committees. I get where it's coming from, and everybody has an opinion. And you know what would have been actually a great poll question, at least as good as today's, which I'm hopefully going to get to today. But I'll just throw this out to you. Does this make the Hall of Fame look bad? Because that's what everybody is saying. It makes everybody look bad. It's embarrassing to Belichick. It's embarrassing to the Hall of Fame. How do these things happen? But I'll say again, for the third time, I'm quoting the great Jimmy Johnson, who was on Miami Sports Radio this morning, WQAM, with Joe Rose. He's on every Wednesday. That's right. The Jimmy Johnson from his home in the Keys says this is how the voters think. He's going to get in for sure, but I don't like him, so I'm going to vote no. Stroke. And there was enough of those guys thinking that way that Belichick didn't get in, and now everybody's been pantsed in front of the whole world. And you got Troy Aikman tweeting about it, saying it's a sad day for the Hall of Fame. And I guess I'll put that to you, not to officially vote on that. Just give me your comment. Does this make the Pro Football Hall of Fame look bad? That is as obvious of answer as should Belichick be in the Hall of Fame. And I promised earlier, by the way, a Moose update. And Darren DuPont, I know our Nevada viewers don't know him as well because he's only been on here a few times, but our Canadian viewers know Darren was on us with this for like 1,000 of our 1,600 shows at least, co-host. Darren Moose DuPont. We used to sit around and debate the Halls of Fame, mostly hockey, but others as well. And Darren always said, if you have to ask if this person is worthy of the Hall of Fame, they're not. Belichick, you don't even need to ask. We all know that. But the Moose update is this. He's in Australia. He's at the Australian Open. I talked to him, I think it was yesterday. And it's funny. I've never been there. I have no interest to go there at all. I have no interest really going anywhere anymore. But he said, it's just like home. There's great weather here. It's summer here. We have all the same restaurants. People speak the same language. It's very comfortable here. Don't be surprised if we hear Moose has moved to Melbourne, Australia. Well, hey, thank you, Rob, in Las Vegas for chiming in. Rob, watching in the Sin City, says, what NFL coach deserves to be in the Hall of Fame more than Belichick? Nobody. That's the point. As I was driving home from the Panthers game last night, I was listening to Fox Sports Radio, and Jason Cole is a veteran writer of the NFL, covered the Dolphins for 15 years for the Sun Sentinel here, and he said on the Fox Sports Radio, and he's on the voting committee, he has a vote. He goes, we've never had a more qualified candidate ever than Bill Belichick, and they won't put him in. So, I mean, we've kicked this around for an hour and 5 minutes already. The reasons why. I personally believe it's a grudge because, again, I'm somewhat ashamed to admit that when I've had votes, I've had not grudges, but politics affect my voting. It's a human thing. And I guess this is just a case of spit happens. Enough people had a grudge against Belichick that it affected the voting. What does that tell you? Because there's just as many people saying it's not the grudge. It's the Spygate scandal where he got videotaped. The stories of what Belichick would do to win football games are legendary. He's in the Hall of Fame of cheating football coaches. Deflategate, Spike. I read somewhere. Somebody tell me, please, because I went to look it up after. I can't remember where I read it. Because it might not have been true, but there was a story that hotels in that Foxborough area for visiting teams, Belichick would have people go into the rooms, like cleaning people or whatever, and take the playbooks when the coaches were out of the rooms and photocopy them. That's what I read somewhere. So on the internet, it has to be true, right? But because of all of that, Belichick has got to wait at least a year to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame when there's never been a more qualified candidate. Now, the flip side of all this is, as I said earlier, we do all get humbled in life. Believe me, I've had enough of it myself. Maybe this is Bill's. There is that. So anyways, 902-518-3033. Thank you, Rich writes in. He says, it can be a gong show if you let fans vote. See John Scott in the NHL All-Star Game, for example. Jeff the Stamps fan says, Rod is a real man and great human to admit his past mistakes. What do you want, Jeff? What are you buttering me up for? I learned that from Ken Austin, by the way. It's the second time his name's come up. He's like, don't be afraid to admit your mistakes. Just don't do them again. It's so unbelievably easy, yet so incredibly rare. You should try it sometime, everybody. Well, and before I move on, That same Jeff says, get rid of the current voters and let longtime fans and season ticket holders vote. How about, I'll meet you halfway, get rid of the current voters and get some people in there that aren't dinosaurs, that aren't holding grudges against Belichick. Somebody can just look at a guy's career or gals and say, should they be in or not? Is that too much to ask? That might be the problem here. And by the way, Tony writes in and says, can the Super Bowl end in a tie? I can't cheer for either team. Sorry. You know what? It's not great. It's not a great matchup. I think we talked about this on Friday's show when we were heading into the conference championship Sunday. What would be the best Super Bowl matchup? It ain't Seahawks-Patriots. Even though I picked them to win, Denver against anybody would have been the best story. But here we are, and you're going to be watching Tony. By the way, 902-518-3033. That is the text line for Western Dodge. From trucks to SUVs, Western Dodge has what you're looking for. Visit their showroom or online at westerndodge.ca. Darren writes in from Melfort and says, Bill Belichick hurt the snowflake voters' feelings. Well, again, if it's true, Belichick spent 40 years treating the media like junk, and then they vote on his induction, then there's a little bit of karma here to be had. That's all. Maybe if you were treated like junk, would you vote for the people that have treated you like junk? I'm just saying. Doesn't necessarily make them snowflakes, that's all. Daryl Slade writes in, Calgary's Stampeders historian on the Western Dodge text line. He says, Cal Ripken Jr. was named on 537 of 545 votes, 8 short of unanimous, into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2007. The ones who didn't vote for him later said they had a personal policy of not voting for someone on their first ballot. How could anyone not vote for Cal Ripken? Yeah, I think we've beat this one square, haven't we? And thank you, Jeremy, the Wings fan. He writes in, he says, I was close. Patriots, Rams. That's a good story. Why are we all down on the Seahawks? Because we are, but we shouldn't be. They've earned the right to be there. They're a team of destiny, but I'll be cheering for the Patriots for a variety of reasons come Super Bowl Sunday, which, by the way, I got to stop. Oh, getting back on point here, something other than Belichick. 2 things. Number one, I will be going to the outdoor game in Tampa Bay on Sunday, hence the jacket. And there was a guy in the gym this morning. I love the gym conversations. It's gotten to a point now, it's taken 5 years. The Florida people really have accepted me. And this guy, he goes, you got your winter wear on, as I was going to climb onto the treadmill. And I said, just so you know, it's going to be 24 Fahrenheit. I don't even know what that is Celsius anymore. 22 Fahrenheit in some regions of South Florida. I know it's below freezing. How far below, I don't know. Everybody's losing their ever-picking minds. It's so cold, I had to put the windows in my Jeep. Can you believe that? Anyways, I said, I'm going to the outdoor game in Tampa this Sunday. And I said, the cold weather is really going to help the ice for the NHL because they're putting ice in the Buccaneers Stadium. And this guy goes, oh, I'll be watching. He said, wait, is that Super Bowl Sunday? I'm like, no. The NHL would never put any game against the Super Bowl, let alone one of their big marquee events like a Stadium Series game. So I'm very excited to go, which is one thing. And yes, it is 1:11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain for the live viewers that observe and are into the numerology thing. That's another question that I want to ask Angela, the hockey princess, Blackhawks podcaster, who's joining us in the next segment, because they had the outdoor game in Chicago just last year. And I wasn't at it. We got into town like a week later. All the signs were still up and stuff downtown. Looked really awesome. Those outdoor games are unbelievable. But I did talk to some people at the Panthers game last night. They were at the outdoor game here, and I guess I can say it now. They didn't like their vantage point from where they were sitting. So, can't please everybody. There is news from the National Hockey League as we got on to just point 2. The Montreal Canadiens fired goaltending coach Eric Raymond Wednesday morning. They made the move 53 games into the NHL season. Goalies Jakub Dobish, Sam Montembeau, and Jacob Fowler have combined for a save percentage of .884. That's 28th out of the league's 32 teams. First thing I thought was Martin St. Louis wouldn't fire anybody easily, so obviously there's a reason. But I hope this spurs those goaltenders into they just won last night. They beat Vegas, which reminds me. Jake Evans scored at 3:58 of overtime, leading Montreal to a 4-3 victory over the Golden Knights. Pavel Dorofeyev scored both goals for the Golden Knights, who lost their third straight game. Oh, was it 3-2? Either way, you get what I'm saying. Vegas lost their third straight game against Montreal. That goes back to last season. Akira Schmid stopped 23 shots in the losing effort. The Swiss netminder lost for the second time in as many starts against Montreal this season. Macklin Celebrini had a goal and 3 assists. Will Smith had a goal and 2 helpers, and the San Jose Sharks beat Vancouver, but who doesn't? 5-2. Mark Scheifele scored his 26th of the season, and the Winnipeg Jets beat New Jersey by a score of 4-3. What else? The Leafs lost. So it was a day that ended in Y. Rasmus Dahlin had the first hat trick of his NHL career to go along with 2 assists, and the Buffalo Sabres beat Toronto 7-4. I'm here for this. It's the year of the hat trick of the National Hockey League, 28 of them. Again, look at a calendar. That's one a day in the NHL. What? There's a lot worse things to be known for. And Patrick Kane of the Detroit Red Wings has tied Dallas's Mike Modano as the highest-scoring U.S.-born player in NHL history. Let's do it again. A moment of silence for Modano's record going down. Thank you. He's still my favorite all-time hockey player, but he's just no longer USA's all-time leading scorer. By the way, our picks are brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon in football. Pump Jack's Cathedral and Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. We'll be getting to our Super Bowl pick, which reminds me, point 3-4 here is Super Bowl. We don't have time. We're going to be breaking here right away. But we will have guests from Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco next week, and I can't wait. By name, Jeff Reinbold, John Ryan, and more, so be tuned in for that. We'll pause. Get your hockey questions in specifically for Chicago as the hockey princess, Angela, joins us, Blackhawks podcaster from the Windy City. We'll be right back on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network across Nevada and across Canada and 33 states on Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your rebel, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
It's your daily reminder to sign up for the Rod Squad newsletter. It's free, and you can do so at rodpedersen.com, brought to you by Suds Regina. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. Okay, Angela, hang on. Kirill Kaprizov scored the shootout winner as the Minnesota Wild defeated Chicago 4-3 last night in St. Paul, Minnesota. Angela is the hockey princess from the Hockey Princess podcast. She does it with her dad, Krusty, and it's a fantastic show. I've been on it multiple times, and Angela's taken the time out to join us today from the Windy City. How'd that game go from your eyes last night, Angela?
It was a good first 20 minutes.
And then?
Yeah, and then, Minnesota decided to wake up. They're a very good team, so it definitely stung, but happy to get a point away from that matchup.
Well, yeah, we got a lot to unpack here with the Chicago Blackhawks and various things we'd like to discuss. Angela joining us from Chicago, 902-518-3033 is the text line if you have any Blackhawks-related questions. Connor Bedard had an assist and was a -1 in the loss last night in the shootout. I guess where my mind goes first, Patrick Kane tying Mike Modano last night for all-time points by a U.S.-born skater. How does it feel to you to see Patrick Kane doing these things in a Detroit uniform?
I know I'm the exception. A lot of the masses, it stings, but I'm proud of what he did in Chicago in terms of production on the ice. I'm proud of him when he was in the Rangers, and that he's born to break records. And so to me, it doesn't matter what jersey he does it in.
Well, very classy of you to say. And, I sit back and I look at Chicago. I'm fascinated with the franchise because I've had a lot of friends play for them, a lot of friends work for them, and you've had your ups and downs. You've been following the Blackhawks since what year, Angela?
Since forever, but probably routinely since about 2005.
Okay, so as long as you can remember, basically, right? So
yeah.
You've seen the greatest 3 Stanley Cups in a decade, and then finishing last overall and getting the number 1 overall pick. Is this rebuild taking forever in your mind, or how are you handling that as Blackhawks fans?
I don't think it's taking forever because I think there's definitely some teams where that truly looks like it was forever. Like Buffalo's rebuild is the first one that comes to mind where that looks, I mean, they're hot right now, but that's definitely taken a very long time for them. So I don't want to say that Chicago's been taking forever. I do think there are kind of discrepancies between fans on when did the rebuild really start? Did it start, around COVID? Did it start when Hagel and Dylan Strome left? Did it start when, we traded away Alex DeBrincat at the draft in 2022? It kind of just depends fan to fan. I'm getting impatient, but I don't think it's taking forever.
Hey, I get it. And by the way, before we go any further, this, I told my viewers last hour, I said that the bosses said, can we get some females on? I'm like, well, I know one, but you got to be good. And Angela's good. And I've been on your podcast a few times. Tell the folks about your podcast, by the way, because it's kind of cool.
Yeah, so it's a father-daughter podcast. My dad is my co-host. We talk all things Chicago Blackhawks hockey, but also their farm teams. So, Rockford, Indy, and then kind of just do a weekly update in terms of the prospects, whether they're European, playing in the CHL, playing in college. And then, so we'll do that show on Thursdays. And then on Mondays, we just do a preview, which is the episodes that you have come on, talking just with other folks, previewing the week for Chicago.
And available on all podcast platforms, right? For people that would like to check it out.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so we'll get back to some Blackhawks talk in a second, but I said to you, we got a lot of viewers in Winnipeg, and Angela's the girl, everybody, that I said, hey, I got a friend coming to Winnipeg on a road trip, and you went with Krusty, right? I think it was the end of October. Yep. What should she do? And everybody wrote in with their suggestions and everything in Winnipeg. It's our second highest viewed region or whatever. We have the second most viewers are in Winnipeg. So how did that road trip go?
I love Winnipeg. Oh my goodness. I love Winnipeg. I think I at least think about Clementine Cafe and their breakfast once a week. And I have too many pictures of my breakfast that I show people. Winnipeg is the best place to get breakfast in all of Canada. I'm convinced.
I've heard that. Okay, continue. What else did you do?
We took a tour. I think it was the Parliament building. We did a tour. I always make Krusty go to a cat cafe if there is one in the city. So there ended up being one in Winnipeg that I took him to. Krusty, old guy's a secret cat whisperer. Don't let him fool you. Yeah, I think we kind of just walked around and tried to get the lay of the land in Winnipeg too, because we were only there for about 48 hours.
Beautiful, beautiful downtown. And it's funny because the Florida Panthers just came out of there. They have a far different thought on Winnipeg. It was minus 51 or something. They're like, we never even left our hotel. You were there at a good time to go weather-wise, right?
Yeah, and we tried to plan what trips we were going to do based on the weather. Because after we went up to Edmonton and Calgary a couple of years ago in the middle of January, Krusty was like, we're not doing this again. We're doing good weather only.
Well, you are from Chicago. I mean, you guys are pretty hardy. I mean, we were there last year. I walked out of United Center going, this is as cold as I've ever been. I don't care, Canada, Illinois, or whatever. So you guys know cold, which brings me back to the United Center. So I'd never been, and I loved it, and I can't wait to go back. Tell the folks what it's like there, even now with the team that's not anywhere near the top of the standings, but they still pack the barn. The vibe is still there. What's it like for Blackhawks hockey right now in the United Center? Does it depend on the opponent? It'll
depend on the opponent. You're always going to have a sold out crowd for Winnipeg and Detroit, especially now whenever Taves and Kane come back to the United Center. But it's still pretty electric, especially with that anthem. No one does it like Jim Cornelison, in my opinion. But for a team that is definitely pretty still electric.
Oh, we got you. You froze for a sec. You said for a team that ...
For a team that is, has been bottom of the standings for a bit, is still, pretty electric inside that barn.
Do you think, I think it's an obvious question, but they're still riding the brand and the wave of the 3 Stanley Cups? Is that still a thing there? That's what I felt when I was there, but I might be wrong.
I think whether or not they want to, they're still riding that wave. I mean, you go inside the United Center and half the barn people are still wearing 19 and 88 jerseys. But I think this new management, new team is also trying to, make this new era their own as well.
Okay, so yes, half the barn are wearing 19 and 88, but the other half are wearing 98. We should talk about the Bedard phenomena in that town and in that rink.
I mean, we absolutely love him. This beginning of the season, prior to, him getting sick, him getting injured, he was pretty electric. I mean, he's electric every year. It's Connor Bedard. But, the beginning of the season, it was kind of, we felt even better because everybody else was kind of seeing what we'd been excited for in Chicago for the past couple of years. Because we all knew that it was in him to be excellent, but I think now you're just seeing it more. But it also helps that he's got more pieces around him now. I mean, that first year where he was just around a lot of other veterans, nobody really on the younger side with him. Now he's got more of the younger pieces of this rebuild around him too.
I love that the viewers are chiming in. I'm not done on Bedard yet. I think now with Modano retired, I would say Bedard is my favorite player. Sergei Bobrovsky is my favorite goalie, but let's put them in their own special category. Right. Rich in Edmonton writes in and says, Wayne Mesmer could really belt it out at the old Chicago Stadium. Well, obviously that predates. Oh, you have a thought on that? Something just popped into your head.
I love Wayne. I love Wayne. No, he does the anthem at the Wolves games, and he even did the anthem, one for the celebration of the Madhouse decade for the 90s. I want to say that was a couple of months ago. And he did the national anthem for the PWHL takeover that happened in Chicago last month too. So Wayne's still around. We love Wayne.
Well, listen, and I love our viewers for hanging in and participating in this chat of me and Angela about Chicago hockey. It's fun. But with this, Jim, would you say Corneliuson? How do you say his name?
Corneliuson.
Okay, well, I saw that he sang the national anthem for the Bears-Packers game. And so we were in the alumni suite at United Center that night against Vegas. It was a Saturday night, and we were with Chris Chelios. He was our host. We were inside the suite. And then the teams came out onto the ice, and he's like, oh, we got to go outside. It's a big thing for the anthem. And I'm like, I didn't know that it was a thing. And then Jim Corneliuson is singing, and I'm like, this dude is singing from his toes, like his life depends on it. And the walls were rattling. And I'm like, this is a Saturday night against Vegas. What the hell is going on? What is his story? He's like a beloved Chicago figure.
Yes. He's been doing the anthem probably, I want to say at least as long as my whole life or pretty close to it. I believe it was 94 or 99 or 96 that he started. But he's been around for absolutely forever. And then what he did with the Bears, he'll do specialty games for other Chicago teams as well. So he's kind of just always around.
Oh, he's so good. So Jeremy has chimed in. He says, Patrick Kane sure looks good in a wing sweater. Sorry, Angela. Do you take that as a troll job? Or how do you feel when you hear that?
No, as someone who I saw that trade coming initially, when he went to New York and he was leaving Chicago, and I was kind of just like, whatever team he goes to, as long as he doesn't end up in that Nashville yellow, I was okay with wherever he went.
Mm-hmm. Tony writes in with a question that I think I know the answer to, but I'll put it to you because you're the expert. Tony says, is there still local pressure from the indigenous to change the Blackhawks name? Originally, the Blackhawks honoring Illinois Chief Blackhawk and World War I Army Division. God, I hope not. I've been a fan since the 60s. What do you know about that, their name and logo?
I believe that there still is pressure. To be honest, I'm not completely up to date on the specifics of what's going on, but I do believe that there is still pressure from the community to change it. If they do change it, I'm not one that would be devastated by it, that means I just go out and buy more jerseys.
I'm sure you have a few. Well, I don't know. To me, the Blackhawks jersey, Reds, we were just talking about this the other day, is my number one jersey in NHL history. And I've never been a Chicago fan a day in my life. I just love the jersey. But I thought that the team had met with the local Indigenous bands and they'd smooth things over and that they were okay with it. But I'll do a little digging on that. But back to and by the way, those writing in with the politics, keep it out of here. It has nothing to do with you, Angela. It's about something that was discussed today. Just keep it out of here. You should know better, those that wrote in with that. They're daily viewers. We don't talk politics here. We keep it fun like this. So with the Blackhawks, you were there. Were you at the game when the Panthers were there the other night?
Oh, of course. I would never miss a Panthers game.
I was meaning to ask you to send me a photo or some video, and I forgot. I felt bad about that. Oh, because your favorite player is it your favorite player of all time or favorite European player of all time was there?
My favorite player of all time predates Patrick Kane, is one of the assistant coaches for Florida. So I never, when he played for other teams, that was always the game that I would go to. Now that he's coaching with Florida, I always make sure that I'm down at warm-ups, just so he knows that, his fan from 20 years ago is still around.
And this is Tuomo Ruutu.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so listen, that was the same night as the conference championships, NFL, NFC championship. We were going back and forth with that game. I don't know about you, Angela. You were there. Chicago didn't put up much of a fight that night. I felt bad for Spencer Knight. Panthers had a great game. But I'm wondering, what are they saying? What are you thinking they're going to do with the trade deadline coming? I mean, we're entering the Olympic freeze, but after that, they're going to move some guys, aren't they? They seem to always do.
I think they're going to try. I think that they have some really aspirational hopes in terms of what they can do at the trade deadline. You've got Jason Dickinson, you've got Ilya Mikheyev, and you've got Nick Foligno being the top three that I wouldn't be surprised if they were to flip. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it's the same situation as last year, where we all went in thinking Ryan Donato was going to definitely be flipped at the trade deadline and the asking price was way too high. So I think if they can flip him, or if they can flip those three, then they will. I'm all for it, just because then that gives an opportunity for my favorite AHLer to maybe get a shot after the trade deadline. But I think, if the asking price is too high, they're not going to force anything.
How's the Seth Jones trade going over now? For those that don't know, Spencer Knight came back the other way. I feel like after he kind of trashed the organization last year at this time, they weren't too sad to see him go, or am I wrong?
I mean, I'm very proud of what Seth was able to do in Florida. I was one of the few, me and Krusty both, were Seth Jones supporters even while he was here. It was an honor to watch him in Chicago. But I think they're definitely, excited that he's not on the team, because he definitely had some haters in Chicago. But I think, once Florida won the cup, the tide kind of turned a little bit, and it was just a little less hatred and just, he's a skilled player. He's playing on a team where he doesn't have to consistently be the guy, where the past couple of teams that Seth Jones has been on, he was expected to be the guy.
Yeah, well, and you got your future goalie. You got a franchise goalie there in Spencer Knight the other way. That's why I would think that anybody that was upset, that should be quelled by now.
Yeah, and I think that's initially that definitely gives Spencer Knight a little bit more love initially, just because whatever they were going to get in that Seth Jones trade, I think fans were going to be excited for. But, I think I've lost track every game how many times Krusty Old Guy and I say, thank you, Spencer, every time he saves. It just feels amazing to have an incredible goaltender in net.
Yeah, he's a good one. He's a franchise goalie. Time got away from us. We got less than 2 minutes. Hey, Olympics, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your excitement level for getting this thing underway in Italy?
I'm excited for the women's Team USA team and the Team Canada's women's team in terms of hockey, and I'm excited to see what Finland can do. And that's kind of where my excitement is right now. There's definitely some snubs that I'm still holding a little bit of a grudge for. I always cheer for Finland with the Olympics in terms of men's hockey, but I'm excited for women's hockey. I think it's going to be pretty spectacular.
Out of pure morbid curiosity, who are the snubs that you're upset about?
Jason Robertson.
Okay. Is he the only one? Because I know there are Lane Hudson, Cole Caulfield, Adam Fox. There's quite a few.
Those really didn't surprise me in terms of snubs. Jason Robertson's the only one that I still kind of hold the grudge on because I still don't get it. I think he's a fantastic player, but the rest of them, I kind of wasn't surprised.
All right. Perfect timing. Angela, you did great. Say hey to Krusty for me. Go Hawks and keep in touch. All right. Look forward to chatting again.
All right. Thank you.
Blackhawks podcaster, the hockey princess, Angela out of Chicago. We'll be right back. Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We have a lot to get to in a short amount of time. 19 minutes left in the program today. Here is your sports update from this Wednesday. The Cleveland Browns are naming Todd Monken as their new head coach. Monken has been Baltimore's offensive coordinator for the past 3 seasons. He first interviewed January 10th, had a second interview January 20th. He was on the staff back in 2019. The Ottawa Senators host a Colorado Avalanche tonight in NHL play. The Sens, who sit last in the Atlantic Division, are coming off a 7-1 win over the Vegas Golden Knights on Sunday. Starting goalie Linus Ullmark was on the bench for the game. He's yet to play since taking a personal leave for mental health reasons. And 6-time Super Bowl champion head coach Bill Belichick didn't get voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. ESPN says Belichick didn't receive the necessary 40 votes from the 50-person panel of voters. The Hall of Fame declined comment on it before its class of 2026 is announced on February 5th. The sports update is for the Ultimate Fan Zone. Rough Riders, Blue Jays, NFL, NHL, you name it, they've got it. Rep your team loud and proud with Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store. Shop now at ultimatefanzone.ca. From the text line, and don't let me get out of here without my top 5, bottom 5. If not this segment, then the next one. Because from the audience, Bill writes in, he's watching in Brantford, Ontario, the home of Wayne Gretzky. And Bill says, I think it makes the NFL Hall of Fame look bad. Belichick won his 6 Super Bowls as head coach of the Patriots and 2 more as an assistant coach with the Giants, 8 altogether. That's the thing. And for those that joined us late, I was asking the viewers earlier, who does this make look bad? And the answer is everybody. It makes everybody look bad. It looks bad on Belichick that he wouldn't get in with 8 Super Bowls. As I heard from a voter last night, Jason Cole, he said there has never been a more qualified candidate than Bill Belichick, and he's not getting in. Why? And it certainly makes the Hall of Fame look bad. I think there's a whole lot of spit happens here. Stuff happens. A few voters didn't like him, didn't vote for him. Turned out to be more than just a few. Oops. Wayne in BC writes in and says, I love Connor Bedard and hope the Blackhawks emerge in the next couple of years to be a Stanley Cup contender. Well, that's the plan. The question is, are they on the right track? They're getting better, and I guess that's all you can ask. Direction is more important than pace, as we say. Okay. Top 5, bottom 5 in the National Hockey League. Let's go. The number 1 team in the NHL is the Tampa Bay Lightning. Don't at me. 8-1-1 in their past 10. Number 2 is the Colorado Avalanche. 4-4-2 in their past 10. And they lost in Tampa Bay 10 days ago. We haven't forgot about that. Number 3 is the Minnesota Wild. I feel like they're like DJ Khaled. All they do is win, win, win. Minnesota. Number 4, the Dallas Stars. It's time. They're always good. Maybe Hudson Bay's Glenn Gulletson can take them to the promised land. Again, that's the plan. And number 5, I got to go with the Buffalo Sabres, man. They are the hottest team in the NHL. They've won 4 in a row. That's the top 5. Tampa, Colorado, Minnesota, Dallas, Buffalo. Your bottom 5, are you ready? The 28th team, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Winless on the homestand. Let's blame Mitch Marner. The number 29 team in the NHL, the New York Rangers. Talented, but bad. Maybe they should sage the locker room or something. Something. They can't fire anybody else. The number 30 team in the NHL is the Calgary Flames. It pains me to say, but we all know it. The white flag is out. The number 31 team in the National Hockey League is the St. Louis Blues. What happened? The fall off is quick, and it appears to have happened for the St. Louis Blues. And then the number 32 team in the NHL, we all know who it is. It's the Vancouver Canucks, and I don't want to talk about it. You don't want to hear about it. It's bad. By far, the worst team in the NHL is the Vancouver Canucks. And I still got more, if you can believe, that we haven't even got to today. So we'll wrap it all up when we return for overtime. 902-518-3033 to get your comments in for, it's your last chance for Western Dodge. We'll be right back on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada and, of course, across Canada and 33 U.S. states, now including California, right here on Game Plus TV. YouTube Live, podcast, and WQVZ Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show, and this is Overtime, brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. If you're looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot, look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes. We talk about them every day, and we do for a reason. With state-of-the-art shooting lanes, and trust me, they are. Every time I go there, they've got new equipment, new exciting things. I think Randy just likes the toys. Top-notch equipment. It's the ultimate training destination for players of all ages, all skill levels. Whether you're prepping for the big game, just want to have fun, having a birthday party, they do that. They have a licensed bar for the parents. Check them out. Overtime Hockey Lanes has got you covered. OvertimeHL.ca is their website. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. This is the part of the show where you get my stories that nobody asked for. Hey, John Ohm writes in regarding John Corneliuson in Chicago. He says, best anthem singer in the NHL, bar none. I agree. Jennifer Hansen was pretty darn good in Winnipeg back in the day, right? I kind of like George Canyon in Calgary a lot. It's a different person every game here in Florida. It is what it is. Tony in Cochrane says 2 original 6 teams in the bottom 5. Sad. Blame them. So here's one. Tony, you might like this. Maybe you won't. But so there's a guy in the gym. I've talked to you about him. His name's Jan. And he's a longtime Miami Hurricanes season ticket holder. Originally from Chicago. It's funny because every time I meet somebody here, Chicagoans have a distinct accent. And a lot of times I'll say, where are you from? And they always have the same, not only they like Chicago. They're just so proud to be from Chicago, which is such a cool town. To me, probably America's finest city. I'm not joking. I know that's San Diego's slogan. Chicago's got it going on, man. I had it on my bucket list, and I'm so glad I stroked that baby off. But anyways, that's where Jan's from. So this morning, I'm walking into the gym, and I always stop. He's always on the same machine. The timing is amazing. And he's like, what do you think about that new quarterback the Hurricanes got? And I'm like, excuse me? Oh, they got the guy. I'm sorry. What? He gave me that look, like that look of, how do you not know? Like, now I went back and I looked it up, but I just said, Jan, come on. The Utah Mammoth made their only visit of the year last night to Sunrise. That's where my head is right now. That's where I was last night. But everybody is into their own thing. Frankly, it's like the last time I really remember that look strongly. I was sitting in the stands at an Anaheim Ducks practice, sitting with Rich Preston, at the time, their great assistant coach, and he was talking about Ryan Kessler, and he hadn't played for like half the season. I was there hosting my sports trip, sitting there chatting with Rico, and he said, well, he hasn't played all year. I'm like, he hasn't played one game? And he gave me that look. Like, how do you not know? I'm not up on the status of every single team in North America. I can't. And I told Jan, I think he gets it. But I mean, this guy is just with the Miami Hurricanes. And it's off season. Season's over, brah. Is my point on all of that. For those that know, because I had to go look it up, Darian Mensah has enrolled at Miami, boosting the Hurricanes with another standout transfer quarterback. Mensah transferred from Duke after resolving a legal battle over his eligibility to sign elsewhere. On Tuesday, Mensah and wide receiver Cooper Barcotti, if I'm saying that right, toured Miami's campus. Mensah is joining his third team in 3 years, having led Duke to a conference title last season. Miami hopes he continues their success with transfer quarterbacks. The Hurricanes return key offensive players, including star wide receiver Malachi Toney. Miami opens the 2026 season at Stanford on September 4th. See, here's the thing. For the Hurricanes fans, they're all into this. The rest, I don't know. And the college football world, yes. But it just seems like a whole hell of a lot. The odd thing was he's a former Panthers season ticket holder, too. How do you not know? But, I mean, I turned on the radio this morning, and there's 2 things they're talking about here. Hurricanes got their new quarterback. I just didn't know his name. And then the Belichick snub. And by God, you watch, everybody. By tomorrow, everybody will have moved on to something else. God, I hope so. Oh, yeah. These guys are talking about the greatest anthem singers of all time. And wouldn't that be a trick? Which, by the way, the poll question today, I never got to it here in hour 2. Canada named their flag bearers for the Olympics, which is a big deal. I get that for the countries. I know that. The poll question is, are you getting excited for the Olympics? And only 53% of people said yes for EMJ marketing. They're saying Kate Smith, God bless America. Tony in Cochrane says, Kate Smith in Philly, for sure. We had an anthem singer in Regina. Maybe they still do. Tegan Littlechief. Every time she sang the anthem, the Pats and the Riders won. Every time. I'm like, can we get her every game? And they tried. She wasn't available every game. I called her the Kate Smith of Saskatchewan. She wasn't that impressed. She's not that old. She didn't understand. We all get it. God bless America. I get you, Brent Kirk. He writes, then he says, Bedard choked last night. Can't be a star every night. Let's lower the expectations, brah. Rich in Edmonton says, Chicago is a terrific town. Oh, I loved it. It was minus 27, and I loved it. I can imagine what it would be like in human temperatures. Anyways, this has been a blast. Thanks for tuning in. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Mo Egger will be with us from ESPN Cincinnati. And also Kevin the Medium. So it's going to be big fun. We'll be live at 3:30 Eastern, by the way, with our Cats and Bolts podcast talking Florida NHL hockey. Otherwise, see you tomorrow, everybody.
That.